Hi, welcome back to me and Mon Ami, and today we've got something a bit different because, well, one of our favourite things to do, in fact something we try and do almost every day in summer, is come down here to the beach in Villefranche and swim on our special route right across the sort of ancient harbour bit, the Darse. So we're going to take you on our swim, and along the way we're going to tell you our other favourite places to swim, our secret swimming spots. So this is where we like to get in, isn't it, Mr. Boo?
This is where we do it.
It gives us a target, because then we can sort of swim right the way to that other beach. Although what I tend to do is to swim to the centre there, and then swim out to the furthest buoy, and then come in, because that gives me a 30-minute swim, 30-minute workout. But we're going to try and take you with us and tell you about our other favourite swimming spots. Your label's showing. Your first secret swimming spot?
My secret swimming spot is just at the end, past the Rochambeau housing estate, and you go along the secret footpath, past the trees, and there's various bits you can get off and get in the water over there.
There's that secret pool where we used to swim during COVID when the police came out.
Shh.
You weren't allowed to go in the water, but we went there because we knew the police would never get up the energy to walk all that way to Coppers.
And it is a walk, and you do need proper shoes to do the walk. Yeah. But it's so nice, and it's usually so quiet.
Yeah, and there's also some fantastic villas on the hillside there, aren't there? That you can cop an eyeful of. Some of them have got funiculars that go right up. I mean, they won't let you ride one, obviously. Second secret swimming spot is where we're headed to now. It's the Darse Beach. It's not that much of a secret, but actually, in truth, most people on their holidays here tend to go to the main beach, the Plage Marinieres, which is lovely but does get spectacularly crowded. This one, as you can see this morning, although it's still quite early, is much quieter. It is pebbly. Again, you need your jelly shoes, but it's a lovely sort of local family beach. You've got lots of local people who gather by the wall every day in the winter. If it's sunny, they still come down and swim. So it's got a real sort of village family feel. So the Darse Beach, and the way to get to it is to come down to the harbour, which is, if you're staying in the centre of Villefranche, walk round the citadel, or right now you have to walk behind it because there's some scaff up. Walk round the citadel and then into the harbour. There's a couple of little restaurants here. In fact, actually, there's probably 4 restaurants now. Used to be just one little sandwich buffet shop. So you can get a bit of food, but ideally bring something with you, because there isn't a sort of sandwich place, there isn't a drinks place. And come round to the Darse Beach and live like a local. Spend the day with the locals. And there's also a little secret bit just on here, which actually has some sand, but that's already occupied. Them who know.
So, speaking of sandy beach, the proper Villefranche beach, Plage Marinieres, does have sand, albeit artificial. They put in a bit more every year, and so it's a bit more comfortable, a bit more easy to get into, a lot more busy, but you have got toilets and a sandwich place and a drinks place, and now there's two private beaches there during the summer. But we tend to go over there usually in the winter. In fact, we were there on Christmas Day this year, and it was absolutely gorgeous and full of people having picnics, and there are picnic tables, there are benches right at the far end. There's even a dog beach.
course, all the beaches we've flagged up so far are free, and that's how they should be. And obviously on Villefranche Beach there is a private bit you can go to and pay quite a lot of money for renting a sunbed, etc., if that's what you want to do. And similarly is true of our next beach, which is Plage de Passable. Now, Plage de Passable has a private bit and it has a public bit. It's very easy to get in, and it's a great place to go around sunset because you get a sort of beautiful view of the sunset behind the hills here in Mont Auban, and you get to look across the Bay of Villefranche back into Villefranche. Again, it can get very crowded at weekends, but it's somewhere we go a lot in sort of autumn when you want the last rays of the sun, because it gets the sun right until the end of the day, unless it's cloudy. But Plage de Passable, way to find it is to go on to Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat. If you were using public transport, you'd take the bus sort of up to where you get off at the Rothschild Villa. The Rothschild stop, I think it's possibly the number 15 from Nice. They keep changing the numbers, I'll try and find it. But you can walk to it, or you can hire bikes and cycle to it, that kind of thing. There is a bit of parking, but in summer it really probably isn't worth the grief of trying to find a space. But Plage de Passable is gorgeous.
So staying on Cap Ferrat, the other great place is Plage des Fossettes, which is kind of a hidden beach. If you think of Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat as a Y shape, it's in the V of the Y, right in the middle, and you kind of pass it as you're doing the walk around the cap, and it's again a quiet, a bit more local beach. And I can't remember how many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, they put a little food truck there in the summer, and it's really popular. You can stop for a juice or a beer, but it's a really nice place to go, and not as busy as some of the others that have like a proper private part.
One of the other magical beaches on Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat is Paloma Beach. Now, usually that's got a quite expensive private beach on there, where I think Posh and Bex once had their dinner at the end of the pier, so nobody could see them. But this year it's not there, that, because they're redoing it all, so it's entirely public. So you're going to get a bit more space this year if you go down there. But Paloma, again, fantastic views into the sort of direction of Italy. It's a beautiful sort of footpath walk around there. It's just got something quite magical. There is parking, but again, you're going to really struggle. I'd hire bikes or get the public transport into Saint John Village and walk up. Again, take a sandwich, because there's no catering there this year. And of course, the other thing you can do on Saint-Jean is swim off the rocks, because there is the wonderful Sentier Littoral, which goes right the way around Saint-Jean. Now, Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, but one word of warning is don't even begin to think about walking that in this heat at, really much beyond about this time of the day, which is sort of 8, 9 a.m. because you will really suffer. But you might be able to do little sections of it, providing you take some water. And on those little sections there are some fantastic places to sort of just dive in, to just clamber down the rocks. In some cases there's sort of old steps that have been left from the days when the big villas were illegally using the coastline. But of course French law changed, and they designated that the entire coastline had to be accessible to all of the people, the people's coastline. Quite right too. So you don't have to go to a beach, and actually if you want to get away from crowds and you love a bit of rock pool swimming, then doing a little bit of the footpath and just diving in where you fancy to cool off is a very good idea. But as I say, take hats, protection, and do not attempt that. Walk in the middle of the day, certainly not in the middle of this stupendous heat wave.
Somewhere that often gets overlooked is the beach in Saint-Jean village. Down at the end of the restaurant row, there's a little car park, and on the other side of the car park is the beach. And it's actually the end of the David Niven walk. And there's a buvette. And they think they only do pain bagnat and drinks, which is fine by us. That's our favourite thing.
Next on our list is the beach in Baie, the Plage de Fourmis, the beach of ants. And people often wonder why that's called the beach of ants, and it basically comes from the fact that, not that you're going to get ants in your swimming pants, it's the fact that the sailors in the days of yore would be out at sea and they would see all these giant piles of seaweed and stuff that had washed up there in the winter. And I think apparently they christened it the Bay of Ants because they looked from a distance like ants. But in summertime, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous beach to be on. Very sandy, very easy to get in, very shallow. There's a very nice posh private beach there. There's also the private beach of the Royal Riviera Hotel. If you feel like splurging, you could nip into the Royal Riviera for a cocktail or something like that. But if you don't want to spend any money at all, you don't have to. Take a sandwich, make a sandwich, and take your flask, and go down to the beach in Baie. It's a fantastic view. You can look out across the bay. You can look on to Cap Ferrat. You can see the David Niven Villa, and you can also see the wonderful Villa Kerylos. Now, next on our list is, we think it's called the Plage de Petite Afrique, which is the area known as the Petite Afrique, which is, I think, where originally they landed bananas, didn't they? Because it had a sort of microclimate and the bananas would ripen, and which is why when you get into Eze Mer, not Eze Village, you see the old bananery, which has actually been converted into flats now, but it was the place where they ripened the bananas. But anyway, bananas are not part of this because this is about the beach. And this beach is very beautiful. It's lovely in winter. We love going there. It's quiet. It's sandy. It's sort of almost desert islandy. It has a almost Barbados feel, doesn't it, or something. But in summer, be warned, it does get very busy. It's a very lively beach. There's sort of lots of water activities and paddle boarding and all that kind of stuff. And the kids tend to gather there. So if you're wanting a bit of a more youthful vibe, possibly people with a few bits of music, there's a couple of private sort of clubs there that play quite lively music, then that's the place for you. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily if you're wanting to get away from it all and read a good Barbara Cartland book. You might be best going somewhere else, but it's a very lovely beach.
Go around the coast into Eze Mer. You've got the beach of Eze, which is lovely, pebbly. If you want to hang out with the locals like Mr. Bono, then that's his local beach. And if you want to avoid tan lines, you can go to the end of Eze Beach, and there's a slightly naturist zone. Don't forget your factor 50.
And our next beach is a beach that we used to go to a lot before we took up this hobby of YouTubing, and didn't have enough time. But it's the Naturist beach at Saint-Laurent de Eze. In fact, actually, there's one section isn't Naturist and one section is. But it's a bit of a clamber. You have to go down this quite long footpath or risk your life running over the train tracks, having lowered yourself on a rope from the road. Not recommended, though we do it. But this is a magical beach. It's because it's naturist, because it's sort of so tucked away from everything. There's a real sort of community feel, and there's a sort of gay bit, and there's a straight bit, and there's an in-betweeny bit. I don't know about that, I'm just making it up. But there's certainly a gay bit. And it does get very crowded in July and August at the weekends. Lots of Italian guys come in and all the rest of it. But it is it's a really nice community field. But be warned, you're in for a long walk to get down, a long walk to get back. So if you're doing it in this heat, try and get there early. And again, bring hats and water and all that stuff, because there is nothing down there. Though occasionally, in the summer. In fact, actually, he often does it in July and August. The guy who runs the snack bar at Saint-Laurent, there's in the car park at the top where you go down the path, where you can get a nice bit of lunch. He sometimes comes down with his chalk ices. And another beach that we think is gorgeous, but that a lot of people don't go to, is what we always call the E1027 beach, which is actually the beach below Eileen Gray's famous villa, E1027, in Roquebrune. Easy to get to if you go on the train. The train station is right by the Eileen Gray villa, and you just walk down some steps and you're straight onto the beach. There's a lovely little restaurant there. It's a very, very nice place to spend the day. And check out the beach at Roquebrune. It's also the beach where, sadly, the famous architect Le Corbusier lost his life because he went swimming against his doctor's orders, and because he liked to swim. And, well, he never came back, or if he did, he wasn't breathing. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, please give us a comment, and please think about buying us a coffee, because it helps support the channel, and it's a nice thing to do. But most of all, folks, when you're swimming, looking for a beach, stay charged. Bye. Bye.